Hi there, this is Corey from The Illiterates. I'm speaking to you live from New England, where spring has finally arrived in the form of non-stop torrential downpours. At least I have a wood fire, and tea, and The First Girl Child by Amy Harmon to get me through it. The First Girl Child takes place in a fantastical Norse country called Saylok, named for one of Odin's sons. Saylok, not craving the fame or notoriety of his father and siblings, wanted only a quiet life, so Odin granted him a mythical island nation filled with humans and creatures. Saylok made it his home and eventually fathered 6 sons of his own, but his brother, Loki, jealous of Saylok's peaceful haven, got up to his usual trickster ways and cursed the children so that they were destined to turn into creatures. To this day, their descendants, living in the lands that bear the names of Saylok's sons, still exhibit similarities to those animals. In the north, proud Adyar looks down on the rest of the island nation like a fearful eagle. To its east hunkers the massive warriors of bear-like Bern. To Bern's south is the lupine nation of Dolphus. To Dolphus's west lies Ebba, with its wily, boar-like ingenuity. Steadfast Joran, whose forefather was the horse, lies to its northwest. The last nation, between Joran and Adyar, is the Leonin Leok, and in the center of them all is Temple Hill, where the king and keepers work in tandem to hold the nation together and defend its borders against its many enemies. From the book blurb, you can tell that The First Girl Child is a historical fiction with romantic subplots. The too long didn't watch version of this review would be that The First Girl Child could be a really good season of the Vikings, only with way more magic and much more likable main characters. The lore here was really impressive, in case you couldn't tell by my elaborate intro to this video. And the cultural and the socio-political environment was just as fully fleshed out. This story was rife with intrigue and betrayal and the political machinations of the chieftains and the keepers and the king, who are all vying for power against each other in the country of Saylok. Saylok is a tribal nation based on Norse mythology and history. So you can imagine the blood, pain, and death in this story. Women were not treated very well in this time period, and regardless of the fact that some of them were shield maidens and part of the elite warrior class, didn't really matter. This story opens with one of those maidens, Desdemona, on the verge of death, who is just done with how often she's been abandoned and neglected and abused by the men in her life. And so, with her dying breath, she curses the land of Saylok, saying that if you can't treat your daughters well, I will take them from you. From here, the story of the last of those daughters unfolds. Her name is Alba. Desdemona left a son behind, and he becomes her guardian. As you can imagine, in a nation with violent men, when women are no longer being born, those already in existence become coveted and fiercely sought after. So Alba needs all the protection that she can get. I don't want to get too much more into the plot here because this book doesn't come out until August, and I would like to keep this review completely spoiler-free for you guys. Instead, let me say that this is very much a character-driven story. It's told through multiple perspectives, so you know just what everybody has done and you know all of the lies that they're keeping from each other. There's no real mystery because of that, but it does not make this story any less gripping or intriguing because you know those lies. You know how disastrous and damning they would be if everybody else found them out. I spent this entire book just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Usually when I read, I take copious notes. I sit down and I write out page after page after page of my thoughts and feelings on what I'm reading. And if I have a digital review like I did with this book, I also have tons of highlights to go through and notes within my ebook as well. Yeah, I didn't do that this time. I couldn't really bring myself to pause for even just a minute to jot any of my thoughts down. The First Girl Child is one of those books that's just the full immersion experience. I lost all sense of time and reason while I was reading this, and instead I felt as though I was living within these pages. I can't even tell you if it's a long book or a short book because I might have lost an entire weekend to this. I don't know. And if you can't tell from my Lagertha cosplay right now, I am still struggling to get free from this story. Not that that's a bad thing. In fact, Amy Harmon mentioned in her acknowledgments that she's interested in writing more stories set in Saylok. And Amy, if you're watching this, you have at least one person who votes that you do. So this book doesn't come out until August, but as I record this, I think the ARC is still currently up on NetGalley. I'm going to go ahead and include a link below in the description so you guys can grab your copy if you're a member on there. And if you're not, I'll include where you can pre-order this book as well. Even though I did get an advanced copy of this, I am going to pre-order it because this is easily going to be one of my top reads of 2019. And this is a book that I will absolutely return to over and over again. I really can't recommend it enough for people who like historical fiction, who like historical fantasy, who like romance. This kind of combines all three of those together in a way that I really, really hope that I see more of in the future. Thanks for watching, guys.